But I think they're far enough away from it. It's about 1,000 miles. But we're not, we're not really going to run them. If they shut the service off, they're going to be, and they're getting most of their
Welcome, everyone. It's good to see a nice crowd here tonight to come watch the town do its business. So again, welcome. And I'll call this meeting to order. Our first item of business is our opening prayer, the Vice Mayor Dixon.
Let us all pray. Dear God, we're thankful and we're grateful, God, for this day that you have made. And we do rejoice and we're glad for all that you've done, all the blessings that you've bestowed, how you've kept us from hurt, harm, and danger. God, in this age, we can see that there are people who are dealing directly with tyranny and impunity and ugliness and catastrophe. And yet they still have a heart to want to gather and pray. They have a fierce desire to defend that which is theirs. And God, we thank you for what we have here. We're very appreciative for the community. We're very appreciative for the people. We're very appreciative for how, God, everyone works together, God, for the greater good. We just appreciate you and we bless you. We ask, God, that you guide this meeting, the deliberation. May everything be to your glory. We ask it in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Adam. Ruth, who do you have leading the pledge tonight? All right. All right.
Let us honor our flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Ruth. All right, Mr. Recorder, a roll call, please.
Mayor Best, you're
Here.
obviously here. Sorry about that. You can see that one. Alderman Causey?
Here.
Alderman Countermine?
Here.
Alderman Dixon?
Here.
And Alderman Callahan is not here. We'll make that note.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we got an empty seat here tonight, so we'll be addressing that here shortly. We'll move on into our consent agenda. Alderman, is anything in there you want to remove and discuss? I would like to kind of point out one thing that's in our consent agenda. That's an appointment of an interim police chief, and we got Major Matt Rice going to be filling those shoes. It's great to see that someone that's been devoted to the town for so long has an opportunity here to lead these wonderful officers that we have. So that's in our consent agenda tonight. So thank you, Matt.
Move to approve.
All right, I got a motion to approve the consent agenda by Alderman Countermine. Second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Countermine?
Aye.
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Dixon?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Now we'll move into our financial report. Alderman, anything you want to discuss about the financial report?
Looks good.
All things seem to be in order. Looks pretty healthy right now, and I always like to point out a few things there in the financial side. You know, it's been record-breaking sales tax collections really about every month, and it continues. Again, up about 12% year over year, which is it's a great accomplishment, and it's going to continue. We've been as high as 20% increases, and 3 or 4 years ago that would have been unheard of. Any kind of number like that, anything double digits would have been unheard of. But the town's clicking on all cylinders right now, and it's a tribute to all the work that's been done in the past and work we do today, and really the community that's built to such a wonderful place to live. So that continues. And just to kind of touch on that, something I like to see too is building permits. It's almost doubled again for the month of March is the last one we've tracked. It's 56 building permits this year versus 31 last year. So we've got company coming, and that's great to see. And I always want to point out we've got a great workforce, and really our water distribution, our street guys, our wastewater plant, they all do a great job. And I think down at our water processing treatment plant, processed over 84 million gallons of water last month, and that's a lot of water coming through down there. And we've got a challenge at our water department because with our water system, with it growing as much as it is, we got to look to expand that to keep good water out there. But man, treating 84 million gallons of water, it's almost a little less than 3 million a day. That's a tribute to those guys down there, and our county workforce that's out there installing water lines to parts of the county that they don't have municipal water. It looks like they added another 3,300 feet of water line over on Greenwood Drive, and moving on to what is it, Ralph Hoss, Charlie Hoss?
Yes, sir. We just actually finished Ralph Hoss today.
Yeah, well, that's great. And so making great contributions out there for the county. Got Mayor Grandy here tonight, and he's been kind of the one spearheading that. So appreciate what the town can do for our county. Installed 40 new water taps versus 24 the year before. So it's just a lot of great things happening. So again, thank you to all of those folks. All right, Alderman, with that said, any other comments about our financial report? Appears to be in order. If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Motion to approve from Alderman Dixon. Second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. All right, now we're going to move into communications from the mayor. And I'm going to start by saying I've kind of changed up the agenda slightly, where we've had communications to the mayor, and then we've moved right into alderman communications. I'm going to change it up a little bit and have citizens' comments after my comments, because really we've been kind of free-spirited here on letting comments from the citizenry, which we like to hear, come in, and really during this part of citizens' comments, we really shouldn't be addressing the staff or aldermen. So now during citizens' comments, if questions come up, the alderman will have opportunities after the questions to kind of address it as a board versus having somebody put on the spot during the moment. So that's really the way the agenda should have been done in the past. So we're going to try to clean that up a little bit, and but I'll try to touch on things. And if somebody's speaking and they have a question, if we feel like there's a time to answer that, we will. But we don't want to get into a long process there. So that will be coming up. A lot of things happening in Jonesboro. One, we had making great progress down at Wetlands Water Park. We're going to have that baby open here pretty soon, so I appreciate Matt and what they're doing down there. We've made good. I was really amazed going up to Lincoln Park up by our senior center just to see how fast those buildings went up over there. If you haven't been up there to look at it, go check it out. It's they're going up quickly, so it's be good to see that project continue. And as Adam's talked about often, we're making good progress down on Shell Road. Hopefully the street department will be finishing that project up in not too long, but they've got a lot of the foundation of that work done. So I appreciate them jumping on that as quick as they did. And believe me, on Saturday, what we had snow, we had hail, we had sunshine, we had rain, we had everything. And I was telling people that I've met who are from California, I said, are you all thinking about going back to California now after you experienced all this? But they're going to stick it out because they love our values here. But with all that going on, we had a really good turnout for our Easter egg extravaganza down there. So I appreciate the tourism marketing department for what they do to get those people out then. So it's really great to see that. And I personally have had compliments come in to me about our marketing and social media staff on how responsive they are to comments online, because people do expect that when they send a message and respond to a post online. If we don't respond, it's kind of a useless post, and it's kind of the same way in the private sector as it is in the public sector. But it got compliments on how well they respond back to questions and asking questions about our town. So appreciate all of that. Did notice our Music on the Square, all that's coming together right now with donations and stuff. And I think I saw some new residents, new business owners. T and Jennifer McLeod, I think, made a really nice donation to get that started, $3,000 donation to go towards Music on the Square. So those donations certainly go a long way. With donations, you have to think about also volunteer time. I think there's some in this proclamation I'm going to read. They've monetized how much a volunteer's hours worth, and it's over $28 an hour. So we certainly have that going on here in Jonesboro all the time. and our Jonesboro Community Chest put together a great little volunteer appreciation event down at the visitor center here just recently, and they awarded 5 recipients of volunteer awards. That was Zell Haster and Nancy Cavanaugh and Mary Beth Collette and Carol Jerningan and Jay Caldwell. It's just really good to see people, putting their volunteering, their time and their money and putting it into our town. It's what makes our community great. So we appreciate that. With that said, I've got a proclamation to read addressing that. This is going to be Volunteer Appreciation Month. So is Linda Harris and Kay here? They come down to the front and we'll read this. All right. I'll give this to you. Don't let me run off with it, because I'd love to take this back. You got to keep this. Whereas many of the activities that make Jonesboro a special place to live are partially or entirely staffed by volunteers. Over 30 Jonesboro organizations, agencies, schools, and clubs have been identified as engaging volunteers to fulfill their mission. The added value of volunteers can increase the value of the service being provided. The Nonprofit Leadership Center sets a monetary value for each hour of work completed by volunteers, and as of April 2021, the estimated national value of each volunteer hour is $28.54. Whereas volunteer service was first practiced in the United States as a component of citizens' engagement in a democratic society, this uniquely American practice has provided a model for the world from the very dawning of our country. In 1984, President George H. Walker Bush established April as National Volunteer Week Month to recognize the impact of volunteer service and the power of volunteers to tackle society's greatest challenges and to build stronger communities and to be a force that transforms the world. Whereas Jonesboro is the oldest town in the volunteer state, the citizens have championed a spirit of volunteer service as its citizens signed up for the military service in times of peace and war, raced to put out fires in town, established a library, delivered meals to the sick, opened schools, created town committees, organized community entertainment, and is considered a destination locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. Voluntary civic engagement was practiced from Jonesboro's beginning. Whereas much of what we cherish in our community could not happen without volunteers. Our senior center, scout troops, youth athletic activities, food pantries, civic fundraisers, storytelling events, and an international festival, farmers markets, a clean and beautiful town, library book sale, our churches, the radio show, theater, arts activities and classes, extra school activities, historic organizations, museums, town government and town government committees, K-9 dogs, medical appointment transportation, every downtown event from Jonesboro Days to the Chocolate Fest, and many other health, welfare, and quality of life activities involve volunteers, and most could not even happen without volunteer support. That is true. Whereas, by helping others, volunteers also help themselves as they learn new skills, expand social networks, connect with neighbors, and experience the satisfaction of serving a greater cause while increasing their sense of well-being. Whereas, identifying April as Jonesboro Volunteer Appreciation Month focuses attention on the power of volunteers and volunteer service to impact the town's quality of life, to expand opportunities for building a stronger and more compassionate community, and to provide a way of working together, regardless of our differences. Now, therefore, I, Chuck Vest, Mayor of the town of Jonesboro, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2020 as Jonesboro Volunteer Appreciation Month, and encourage all Jonesboro organizations that benefit from volunteers' gift of time and skill to thank and recognize their volunteers. Thank you all. Yes. Thank you all. Y'all have anything you'd like to say? I know you did a great job down there at the visitor center.
We just recognized 5 volunteers. 3 of them were the adults and 2 of them were students. And these are people in the community who've given over thousands of hours of volunteer work for the town. And we're greatly appreciative of what they do. So, and there are probably many more volunteers in here, so we thank you.
No, it's just wonderful. I think one of the most wonderful things about Jonesboro is that so much we do is done by volunteers, and it's our ownership of the community.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, we've got one more nice little thing to do, and it's always great to brag on people. So we've got Employee of the Month, and we need Nora Davis to step forward. She was surprised. You couldn't be surprised with all you do. I'll let you hold this as I read what Cameo said about you. I would like to recommend Nora Davis, Marketing and Promotions Coordinator for Employee of the Month. There are a number of reasons why I believe Nora is deserving of being our Employee of the Month. The first reason I would like to highlight is her social media work regarding our St. Patty's celebration that took place on Saturday, March 19th. We had over 1 million people reached solely from posts regarding this event. Over 1 million. That's a lot. We might have had half of that number down here that day. There's a lot of people down here. This outstanding data shows Nora knew which aspects of the event to capitalize on through her post. She was strategic on when to post, as well as her intentional copy and photo choices. And those what was the cows that was down
The
there?
Highland cows.
The
Yeah,
Highland
yeah.
cows, they were I'd never even seen one of those.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Many may not realize the amount of time, attention to detail, and analytical skills it takes to have a piece of marketing that reaches this level of success. Nora also came to me with last-minute creative video idea to push the event. In a matter of hours, she filmed, edited, created copy, and posted 3 videos for the event. But Nora's efforts did not stop here. Nora attended the event capturing content for next year's promotions. However, when the sound equipment van broke down, I think we need to replace that. Don't we?
At least the van.
It's our Scooby-Doo van, I think.
That's the creepy van.
Nora drove her personal car and made numerous trips carrying equipment downtown. We were able to get everything set up and did not have a delay in any portion of the event thanks to her help along with other staff. As you can see, Nora is always willing to jump in and assist with any task that is thrown her way. She also displayed this during our Halloween and Christmas events when we were short-staffed. She is an asset to the town of Jonesboro and more than deserving of Employee of the Month nomination. I agree. Thank you. Anything you'd like to say?
Oh no, thank you. I am very surprised, but I'm glad. Yeah, it was all cows. Yeah, it was what it was.
You're in marketing. You have to give speeches all the time.
I know. Yeah, I wasn't ready, but thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. Next item I need to discuss, and I'm going to read this a little bit. This is Stephen Callahan's, resignation from our board. Stephen's been a valuable part of our board for 3.5 years. He's been a valuable part of the Jonesboro community for longer than that, and believe me, for him to resign, it wasn't an easy thing for him to do. But just read a small portion of his letter that he sent to me and to our board. It said, "Jonesboro will always be home, the place we started our journey and the place we will return often. Yes, we will have a business here that will keep us coming, but we will look fondly on just walking around town during a festival or an event, seeing old friends and making new ones. We are looking forward to the coming years. The town will change, but it won't lose its historic significance, nor its significance to us. Lastly, thank you for loving Jonesboro as much as we do." So again, thank you to Stephen for that, and he'll be missed. He had always great intentions, but like he said, he'll be around town. So we look forward to seeing him many times again. So with that, with that said, I'll read a little bit of my reply back to him, and a comment that I made. I said, Stephen has made has made positive contributions to our town government since his election 3.5 years ago. Yet leading his personal business to success has had an even greater impact on our town, and it has. His success has kind of vibrated our town a little bit higher than in the past. I look forward to even greater contributions from Stephen in the future. His business acumen will be missed by our board, but we will strive to fill his seat with another person that serves, that loves the Jonesboro community and our business as much as Stephen Callahan does. We had former Mayor Kelly Wolf resign years ago because of his business demands as well, and his contributions off the board has been as great as his contributions were when he was on the board. So I'm confident entrepreneurs Stephen Callahan and Jessica Callahan will continue accomplishing even greater things for Jonesboro. So again, if we can, I know Stephen's not here, but let's give him a hand if he's watching. And it's a time to, think about that replacement, and it's a big decision for the town of Jonesboro, but we've got a great community here and outstanding people that are always willing to serve and be volunteers. And Alderman, you got any comments you want to address?
We need to make a motion to accept his resignation.
Okay.
Also move.
We've got to make a motion to accept Stephen Callahan's resignation, and Virginia's made that motion. Can I get a second? Second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Virginia, for pointing that out.
You're welcome.
We would have made him stay. Anything else to add, Virginia?
No, not to that. I'm ready to make a
Okay.
statement.
All right. With that resignation, it opened up a position on our planning committee. And Alderman, I'd like to nominate Josh Conger to fulfill the remaining portion of Stephen's seat there. So if I may get a motion to approve Josh Conger for the planning commission.
So moved.
Motion to approve from Alderman Dixon.
Second.
Second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Okay, that's all I've got to say. Virginia, did you have,
We're ready to make a recommendation.
if you'd like, yes.
After careful consideration, a lot of praying to help to make the right decision to fill the position through November, I felt we needed to look at someone that could come in and hit the ground running. This is a very crucial time for the BMA. We're starting into our budget. We've got so many projects going. And I felt that someone that can step in and move forward without going through a learning curve would be a great asset for our town. I can speak from my own heart because I was an employee. I retired, and then I was approached to come on this board, and I had helped with agenda presentations, transcribed minutes, helped the town administrator keep up with what needed to be addressed at the meetings. I felt I would be able to step in and have no problem at all. Little did I know how hard it was to be a board member. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of our volunteer time that we put into it. If you really look at these agenda presentations and take it to heart like we should, it takes 4 or 6 hours to go through these board packets. So I feel that there is one person that has the experience to step in, fill this position till November with no learning curve at all. With that being said, I would like to make a motion to appoint Kelly Wolf to fill the vacant position of alderman until the election in November.
Very good, very good. Good words, Virginia. Alderman, any other comments?
I agree with what you said.
Very good. Well, we've got a motion to approve Kelly Wolf to take the position due to Stephen Callahan's resignation. Do we have a second?
Mayor, I'll second.
I got a second from Alderman Dixon. Probably should ask Kelly. I see him sitting out there. I should point out that Kelly's sitting between two dignitaries out there. Mayor Grandy's out there. We also got former Johnson City Mayor David Tumita out there. And He's probably down here to find out what Jonesboro's secret sauce is. Don't be taking all our secrets back to Johnson City. Oh gosh, he's recording it. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mayor, I'd like to say something. I think Alderwoman Causey has really done an excellent job in conveying what it takes to sit on this board, and it's been a joy, it's been a pleasure for myself. 10 years to sit on this board, and I do remember a time, it's been now I guess 2018, lost an election 2016, very close, the numbers. I was willing to go back and to doing whatever I was doing and just trying to make the community better. And I guess it was maybe March or so, 2018, I get a phone call. Would you like to come back on the board? And I didn't have to think twice. I was glad to come back on the board. Sitting probably over on this side, second or third row back. And little did I know, at that board meeting, the person sitting in your seat would get up and leave and shock the town, shocked everybody. But I was able to come back on the board and serve. And so when I think about this town, and I think about some key people who have led this town, and I think about the impact on this town, historians are going to say that Kelly Wolf certainly made an impact on the town of Jonesboro. They're going to say it, so when we think about service, particularly in this interim period, I don't think anyone will question Kelly Wolf's commitment to the town of Jonesboro. We'll get ready for a robust election year, and we'll get ready for candidates and campaigns and such. But I think that, again, Mr. Wolf's service is, again, commendable, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back on the board.
Thank you, Adam. Well said.
I'd like to give my time to Mr. Wolf to say why you want to do this.
Well,
Please.
thank you. This is one of those things that you didn't know you wanted to do until you were asked to do it. And when home calls, and Jonesboro is certainly home, you respond to the call. And I consider each of you all involved in town government to be dear friends and family members, and so many of you here in the audience tonight. Life's very short. I attended 2 funerals tonight of 2 very close friends. And if you've got the opportunity to serve and you've got the opportunity to make a difference, you better do it. Because the good Lord doesn't guarantee us anything past today. And I see our town still is a very, very bright spot, not only in Washington County and Northeast Tennessee, but the entire state. And Mayor Best alluded to this earlier, but you see people moving here by the dozens. And I see them every day. Because of who we are, what we represent, the inclusion, the love for each other as a community, and it doesn't matter who you are, you're welcome in Jonesboro. So I hope that was a good enough explanation for my motivations, but it would be my honor, and I would humbly approach the opportunity to serve if given the chance.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Anything else, Terry? All right. Got a motion and a second. Call for the vote. Mr. Recorder?
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
All right, we've got a new alderman here. And we're going to take like a little 5-minute break here. We need to have Kelly sworn in. There's some little things we need to do there. So we're going to take a little 5-minute break, and then we'll get back together.
Yeah, after he swears in, he's got to sign an oath for that. I'm going home. I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
I was just what they're doing.
Signs up for this job too, so Jennifer, if you want to stand with your husband.
Thank you. I mentioned dignitaries earlier. I don't want to leave out John Rambo here. There's no bigger dignitary than John.
Judge, good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Chancellor.
Be right back.
Huh? Is he going back there to cry?
I'm getting so mixed up that when something comes to
Hey Jen, isn't that the way it usually is? They call you up and then leave you standing there.
last blood.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I did watch something on. Yeah. Let's go dig for it.
He doesn't.
You get to sit right here beside me.
Maybe because he doesn't know who he is. But someone was interviewing me saying, you still work out.
If I could have everybody's attention, we can swear in newly appointed Alderman Wolf. I want to say Mayor, but Alderman. Alderman Kelly Wolf, if you are ready to be sworn in to this position, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear that I, Kelly Wolf,
I solemnly swear that I, Kelly Wolf,
possess all the qualifications
possess all of the qualifications
prescribed for the office of Alderman,
prescribed for the office of Alderman,
as prescribed by the Charter of the Town of Jonesboro, Tennessee,
as prescribed by the Charter of the Town of Jonesboro, Tennessee,
and that I will support the Constitution
and I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States and the state of Tennessee,
and the laws of the United States and the state of Tennessee,
that I will, in all respects,
that I will, in all respects,
observe the provisions of the Charter and ordinances
observe the provisions of the Charter and ordinances
of the Town of Jonesboro,
of the Town of Jonesboro,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Alderman.
the duties of the office of Alderman.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
We can say thank you to John Rambo for making tonight possible. He started his legal career as attorney for the town of Jonesboro. How many years ago, Chancellor?
It was 1994. I was still
Okay.
waiting on my bar results.
He was practicing unlicensed law. But thank you, Judge, sincerely for being here. Y'all, thank you. It is as I said again, it's a great privilege, and my goal is to humbly serve and to help move our community forward. So that's our goal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Who's got what he needs to sign?
Good to see you. Pat, good. But I've got
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Kelly needs to sign.
If you don't have it with you, I've got it.
Right.
Thank you.
You wanna make sure this is the right one?
All right.
I got it. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you. And
Yes, sir.
we'll get it in blue.
All right. So you're going to fill all that out, correct? Okay, so I signed right here, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Kelly, sign there, and I'll take it from there. Jim, is there anything else besides,
Thank you.
Just I'll sign off as the.
yep.
You're official.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think.
They have to lose weight going by you.
No, you're okay. Well, we got the old gang back again.
It looks like
Good.
it. doesn't it?
That is. Now, I've said often, really, these four aldermen, these are big seats. Aldermen have a lot of impact on our town. There's no decision that gets made here without at least two aldermen supporting it. And in most cases, our business up here is unanimous, but aldermen have a big impact on our town government. So I appreciate Kelly, stepping up to serve. And I've said many times that Kelly's one of the greatest leaders we've had in Jonesboro. I always think of, Jimmy Neal Smith was kind of the founder, him and Bill Kennedy and others who had the vision to monetize Jonesboro's history, and it probably saved our town. A lot of small towns died and went away, and ours didn't. It's because of leaders like that. And I've said many times that Kelly come along at a time when I'd just been elected, and we had a crumbling infrastructure at that time, and I think Kelly and I had a talk on the phone one time when I was at home, and he was talking to me about something political, and I said, Kelly, you're the one, you need to run for mayor. I said, we need somebody to come in here and fix what's broken, and somebody that can spend time in town hall and make a difference down there. And he took that challenge that night and really come along at a great time, because we did. Our infrastructure was at a point where it needed a builder to come in and make a difference. And during Kelly's term, we did a lot of great things, and we're going to do more great things going forward. So, again, thank you for coming aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, I said, we got this new lineup now, so now it's time for citizens' comments. If anybody lives here in the town of Jonesboro or is one of our water customers, you're welcome to get up and speak. And as I said before, we'll really won't be addressing the board. It's not time for question and answers for our staff or our board, but they can address anything during their communication. So any citizens want to make a comment tonight? All right, cats got their tongues. All right, very good. Alderman communications. Alderman, anything you want to share with the community tonight?
I'd like to again thank all the volunteers. I went to that award ceremony tonight, and one of the things that Kay said was that last year we had 90,000 volunteer hours in town. And what Chuck said was $28 an hour, but what Kay reported, just if it were $15 an hour, that would have resulted in $1,350,000 worth of help. So I applaud and continue to applaud and often say that we couldn't do what we do without the volunteers. So thank you.
We've utilized the inmates in the past too, but can't forget about them too. So we appreciate them. Adam, you got anything you want to share?
Again, I echo Alderman Countermine's comments, just to think about where the Jonesboro Community Chest has evolved, and just such great leadership. And I have to admit, I'm just very proud. And the event tonight was very nice, very well done, and just appreciate the energy and the enthusiasm of all those who put that together. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Virginia?
Just echo what they say.
All right.
Nothing else.
Kelly, don't want to put you on the spot. I know you're new here, but anything you'd like to add to what you've already said?
Well, I'm going to try to overcome being bashful. No, I've watched over the last 4 years now, I guess, things continue to progress very, very, very well. And none of that happens by accident. I'm just coming in with an outside perspective at this point. I'm concerned about what inflation is doing to our employees in our company and their take-home pay and their ability to make ends meet. I'm also concerned now as an alderman about what that's doing for the town's employees. It's very real. It's very dangerous because we're already competing against private sector and other governmental entities for talent. With this price pressure that you're seeing, we're blessed to have a good budget situation, but it puts that much more pressure on you to retain employees. So I hope we can look at that aggressively and with a critical eye, because without the people, you can't keep the lights on. And then as we continue to invest, I've been looking at the packet here, as we continue to invest in infrastructure needs, we need to continue to look towards the long-term growth of the town. You all been doing that. Very, very proud of that effort, but it's going to be an ongoing proposition because we're seeing a very large number of people move here, and we're seeing a growing demand for the services that we have. So that was the commentary I could muster.
Very good, very good.
Yes,
All right, well said. Thank you, Alderman. All right, town attorney comments. Jim, anything to share?
Mayor, I did want to say one thing tonight about this has been another quiet month as far as any litigation, and I thought it was important that and I didn't want to jinx it before he was retired, but I think that, or re-retired maybe we should say, that during the tenure of Chief Street, I cannot recall any time that I was asked to get involved in anything that would have even led to litigation or potentially led to litigation. And I think that just speaks very highly of his tenure. I felt like that was deserving of me recognizing that, given the role that I play. At the same time, I think that's even more of a feat when you think of all the things that Jonesboro is involved in and all the things that our public safety officers are involved in because of that. But this town, it struck me this month as I was getting calls left and right, just all the different projects, all the different things that the town of Jonesboro leads on and is doing. And, even hung up the phone a few times with Glenn and Craig and thought, I can't believe Jonesboro's having to deal with this. But good things that are progressive, things that are making us move forward, and things that a lot of other communities just aren't picking up the ball on. So I wanted to share that about Chief Street and the Public Safety Department.
I appreciate that, Jim, and I'm sure Matt learned a lot from Chief Street, so we're looking forward to that. And Jim, all of that doesn't happen without your help there as well. So you do a great job giving us the kind of advice that keeps us out of trouble. So, all right, now we're going to, no old business tonight, so I guess we knocked it all out our last meeting. So now we're going to move into new business. And first item on the agenda is discussion and possible action concerning approval of the fiscal year 2021-2022 audit contract with Blackburn Childers and Stegall. They've been our auditors of choice for a while, and they do an outstanding job for us. Alderman, any comments about that or questions? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Causey and got a second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Countermine?
Aye.
Alderman Dixon?
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
How about Alderman Wolf?
Alderman Wolf.
Alderman Wolf. Yeah, we got a new one down here.
Wolf.
I ain't got him on my sheet yet.
I have faith in you, Pat. Although, yes. How's that?
There we go.
Call your name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I told him.
Did you
Yes,
say aye?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
I got him.
All right, take two. Here we go. Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action concerning approval of the redesign and printing of the historic Jonesboro Visitors Guide. And that outstanding tourism and marketing department that we have, they've done some work selecting a design team to work with the town of Jonesboro. And it looks like they're wanting to award that contract to Creative Energy and the printing to Interstate Graphics. Alderman, any questions or comments about that? Looks like a great plan.
Move
Ah,
to
yeah.
approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Countermine, a second from Alderman Dixon. Yes, Glenn?
Just a comment in the narrative. I did talk about talking a little bit about their budget. I won't go too deep into the weeds on it, but Ms. Waters did meet with Sheila last week, looked over the expenses through June 30th, and looked at her line items, and confident that going with both creative energy and then also the interstate graphics, combining that her overall budget will be okay. It will not go over budget.
Yeah, very good. Yep, thank you. All right, we got a motion and a second. Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye, thank you.
All right. All right, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action concerning approval of special event request applications. First one up is the Sorcerer's Sprint. It's by Goose Chase. They've put some on here before and been good to work with. It's like a little 1 mile run. That's something I think Kelly and I could probably do. Might even get Virginia out there.
Good luck.
We might get the whole board out there.
Good luck.
Is this the one where we had a lot more people come than we expected?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cameo says yes.
Yeah. Do you think we should close the street?
Yes.
Because that was a last minute decision, I think, last time, and because we didn't think we were gonna have so much and we needed to. Is that right? Or
I'm
not?
not sure. I believe, I would assume the plan was to close the street for a run of this size.
Yes.
I remember, I mean, we just had a lot more, all the
Yeah.
costumes and all that was
Yeah,
way
there's
more than
a-
we expected.
The
Yeah, we've
street
got-
closures there.
Yeah, it's in the narrative, or it's in the agenda that they've asked for public public safety assistance and the street closures on there.
That's one thing we learned. Our events are getting better and better, so whenever there's that need to close those streets, that's one thing that's St. Patty's, you know, you never know. There might just be the sidewalks, might be able to handle it all, but there was so many people for St. Patty's.
Yeah.
Our public safety department did a great job jumping out there and you know, closing the streets down just a little bit early just because of the turnout, so. All right, very good. So that'll include that.
Mayor,
Yes.
one thing that needs to be added to the recommendation is that it's subject to the insurance being approved by the town attorney. They've not submitted that yet. They will do that later.
Okay, Alderman, you heard that recommendation, you got the recommendation and subject to.
Move for approval based on recommendation.
All right, motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Next item is our town-wide yard sale. And Glenn, this says to be presented here. I think we've had this in the past, and it always seems to be well attended. So is that something you want to speak to on that, Glenn?
Sure. So, as you know, we've gone through, well, since I've been here and before my time, we get requests for special events, and as our town attorney reminded me again, I don't always miss that part, but the liability insurance and the hold harmless. And he was very humble not to mention that, so I just told on myself. I guess this is live. But in doing so, there's a lot of reviews that go on from the public safety side, from my side, from Ms. Freeman, just to keep these organized. So the townwide yard sale, the last time it was held was in 2017. I've not heard anything as far as like anything negative about the event that has occurred. But we have talked several times since I've been on the job about either applications coming in without the 90 days, or even when we've gone down to 60 days or even 45 days. And in doing so, there was 3 deficiencies on the yard sale, from the security plan to the hold harmless agreement and then the proof of liability insurance. So I didn't want to be presumptuous to make a recommendation based on a deficient, or there's deficiencies in the application. The event itself is probably well received by the town. But, you know, whether or not we address that this evening or when we talk further about things, I probably will need to come to a point where I draw a line in the sand and I've got to administratively say someone's missed the cutoff or there's lack of materials enough to provide an intelligent conversation or even reporting of the event. So I'm at the event where right now to where all three of those that have been requested I have not received, and I think I did double check with Ms. Freeman as well, and we've not received any of the three. It's been communicated, just not received.
Yeah, I think
When did you communicate one?
Probably ever since it was turned in. I think last Thursday was specifically last Thursday.
Today's Monday, okay.
Yeah, we've had this discussion in the past on with these special events and how important it was. That somewhere you got to kind of draw the line, and if we start getting loose with it now, then the efforts we had in the past are kind of just useless. So,
And there's no street closures. There's public safety assistance. Probably just more of just reviewing, and I know public safety's here and Matt's here.
yeah.
It's just it's when we're trying to get the packet out to do business for the town. It gets a little bit difficult to tie up loose ends. Oftentimes the loose ends, I don't say you forget about them, but you have 50 other items on the agenda to get forth to the board. So.
All right, Alderman, what's your pleasure on this? What you think, Virginia?
I would like to address this and say that on all special events, if they don't have insurance, the hold harmless, the plan for the police department with it when it's submitted for staff to return it back to them until everything is together. It is hard. I know when I worked there, it was hard to try to make sure that they had turned their insurance in. They got the hold harmless. It's not fair to Jim. It's not fair to Mr. Rosenoff to have to keep following up with these people. And on this one, I don't know how James is going to feel, but I don't feel like that until we get the information. Because where are they going to set all these 50 to 70 booths up at? Is it down Boone Street? Is it down Main Street? He didn't submit anything giving us any details. I'd like to make a motion that from now on, from this day forward, special events are completed before they brought to the board.
Yeah, I would think part of that when they submit this application, we probably should not accept it until they give everything with that application.
Right.
And that's probably the one way to prevent, half work. So
That was a motion.
That was a motion.
I think Virginia's got a motion.
I'll second it.
Got a second from Alderman Wolf. Any other discussion, Adam?
Well, I do want to say, we just approved, for example, the Sorcerers event, and I think it was subject to hold harmless. Now, I do agree, things do need to be prepared before submitted, but I think that to me, what was the negative was that I think the security plan ought to be a requirement. The hold harmless and the proof of liability, I would think that we could at least continue maybe the subject to piece on those, I would think.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the security plan and certain other components of this application ought to be required. So I would suggest an amendment that maybe the hold harmless and the proof of liability be on that subject to basis. Because it seems like in the past we have approved applications, but subject to that approval.
We have done that, but what happens is it falls through the crack. Whether we get the insurance or not, who knows? Because Jim sends out letters, the staff is supposed to follow up. Our staff, we've got 2 people that is still in the same position when I was out there for many, many years. It's hard for them to follow up and say, well, yeah, I need to call so-and-so and see if they've got their insurance to bring in here to me. If they would,
That's how I'm looking.
I do not see, we started pushing them whenever I was here, and we got it all together.
But it took work.
It takes effort, but if we as a staff would say, I'm sorry you don't have everything together, and reject it. And once you reject one or two, then you're gonna start getting them all together like it should be.
Let's make sure that the application is, it clearly spells out, these are the 3 or 4, whatever number of things that you're required to bring back. When we give them that application, they need to make sure they clearly see what to bring to us. Jim?
That's exactly right.
I don't think
Your application already says that.
Okay.
We have not enforced that. The thing that I see, I go back from every meeting and send out insurance letters. The problem is, I worry that, they get the letter, I copy, this is mostly to cover my backside. I copy the recorder and the town administrator. Because years ago, I figured out there's probably nobody following up on whether or not they actually do this. And then, at some point, somebody gets hurt, we get sued, and there's not that, if that insurance piece is not there, we'll be relying on our own insurance. So the whole idea of this was to require them to do that. Now I wanted to speak because we've had several events recently tell me I can't get the insurance until 30 days before the event. And a lot of times they want to publicize them longer than that. Right. But my problem with that is we have a lot of our events that get their insurance well more than 30 days, sometimes 6 months ahead of an event, for storytelling, for instance. But it's not just them. I mean, most of the events get their insurance well ahead and have it ready to go. But we probably have a dozen events a year, maybe half a dozen to a dozen, that I don't know whether they have insurance or not, to be honest. And the other thing it does, it puts the police department in a terrible. We don't issue. The resolution calls for the issuance of a permit, but the previous recorder didn't believe we needed to do that. We did not. We don't issue an actual permit. I don't know how the police department's supposed to enforce that. If you have an event, what should be happening is if they don't have their insurance, they haven't got a permit. They're the ones here on the weekends. They should be stopping that event. That's a pretty awkward position to put them in, though, when the event started. Volunteers are moving forward, and somebody that organized it didn't get that piece done. But requiring them to get it done before you approved it would eliminate them having to deal with that, or your town, the 2 folks in the front desk trying to figure out the week before, do they have their insurance or not.
I think Adam makes a good point that we might go back and look at the one we just approved, because they don't have everything. So I don't see how we could approve those and not approve this one. So
Well, I think the motion's to approve it, but just from this day forward.
Yeah, it's henceforth.
so we're gonna approve the
Yes.
yard sale?
It's henceforth.
But,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Just,
But he's still gonna have to get in that stuff.
I'll get it.
Okay.
well, we don't want any liability issues,
that
and it
I
just.
say it with conviction. I will get it.
Well, or they won't be able to have the event.
Yes,
I mean, that does need to happen. It should be
Yes.
happening already.
Yeah.
And we'll, as Mr. Wheeler was saying, the process and to kind of stabilize the process, and then also the permitting as well. So we'll work on that as well.
Okay. I think that's a good idea.
All right, let's get some clarification on this motion here. We might have misheard Ms. Causey's motion.
My motion is to change the procedure in which we do these special events. When they come in, that staff has to have everything before it comes to us. If insurance, and I was just thinking, if insurance cannot be obtained until 30 days prior to, they can get a letter from their insurance company stating that and put with it. That shouldn't be a problem. But I'm not making the motion to approve this yet. I just want that changed on.
You want that
Present.
clarified. So it's almost a separate motion that
Separate
Alderman
So would
Coates
you
is-
restate your motion, please, Alderman Causey?
Yes, my motion is to, from this day forward, all special events has to have hold harmless insurance, in the plan for the police department. They show where they're gonna have the event, everything that's in the ordinance, it has to be with it when it's submitted to staff. If it is not submitted to staff, then Mr. Rosenhoff or Ms. Freeman or whoever can give it back to that person and say, hey, we need this, and before it comes to this table. That way then we don't have to go through this every time that we have a special event come before
I'd
us.
agree with that.
And you still have a second.
All right, very good. this would, I guess, be her motion's more about starting April 12th, so it won't really address the agenda item, but we'll come back to that. So, any other comments now, Alderman? I've got a motion and a second. Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Causey,
Aye.
Alderman Wolf,
Aye.
Alderman Counterman,
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, very good. So we just kind of cleaned that up, and hopefully the word gets out to all the special event organizers that when they get an application, bring it all in complete, well in advance. All right, now going back to the
Motion for the town.
going back to the agenda item on the town-wide yard sale. Alderman, what's your pleasure there?
Motion to approve, conditioned upon all the paperwork being submitted as required.
All right, very good. Got a motion from Alderman Wolf. I got a second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? All right, call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf,
Aye.
Alderman Counterman,
Aye.
Alderman Causey,
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Let's clean our closets out. We're going to have a yard sale. All right. Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action concerning approval of the USDA loan resolution for the Jonesboro K through 8 school project. Things are moving along real well on this project, and this is just approving that additional $10 million that we needed to add to that project. I think there were some things there it's all been approved and ready to go, but wanting to see some subject to the certification from the town attorney Jim Wheeler that his opinions are still valid for the additional amount. Anything you need to talk to Glenn there or Jim?
I've got a question for Glenn. What's your interest rate on this loan, Glenn?
This one is I think it was 2.125.
I think
find that
he,
out.
I think he's right.
I was thinking it's a little bit lower than the one on the 30.
That's
Jim.
phenomenal.
That's
Yeah.
great. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
2.1. I got it. That's great.
Very timely.
Put me on the spot.
And we will be providing our title opinions this week that nothing has changed. We're still good to go.
Sounds good. All right, Alderman, you see the recommendation. I'll take a motion.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Motion to approve from Alderman Dixon.
Second.
Second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Dixon,
Aye.
Alderman Counterman,
Aye.
Alderman Causey,
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Very good. I talked about that project. It is moving, and every time we see these updates, first I'll say Bob Browning's doing an outstanding job, and Rachel Conger for this school project for us, been advisors on that. But, Clark Nexton, the architect and design team that came on board, took over the Ken Ross's project. They've been outstanding. We was blessed to have them come on board. They brought ideas that we probably wouldn't have had otherwise, and the project right now is looking great. All right. Next item is discussion and possible action concerning approval of the bid for food and janitorial bids for the 2022 water park season. Looks like we got our prices in line. Any comments or questions on that, Alderman?
Move for approval.
Motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
Second.
Second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf,
Aye.
Alderman Causey,
Aye.
Alderman Counterman,
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. All right, next item on the agenda is something we've talked about for a while, and got some bids back, and like everything, it's creates a hurdle, but it's one that we can't overcome. Discussion and possible action concerning approval of the bid for the East Main Street sidewalk construction. And Alderman, you see the recommendation there is to authorize the town administrator to negotiate the contract not to exceed $133,000 and report to the board the result of those notifications.
Let me ask a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rosenoff.
Yes,
Is your
Mr. Arnold.
intention to come back to this board before you proceed, or does this give you a green light up to 133 to get it rolling?
No, the second part of the recommendation is to report to the board the result of the negotiations prior to issuing a notice to proceed. So that would allow me to have conversations with
Got it.
the board members.
Do you anticipate having to shorten the amount of sidewalk going in order to help meet the bid that we've got to work with, or what's your strategy?
Yes, I would. I mean, I would anticipate that. Yes, the original intent is to connect senior center with the existing sidewalk downtown, and then the McKinney Center. Those were number one and number two, and then we're going to see how far can we get to head down, whatever that was, but ultimately head down. So
have you checked the references of these guys here?
they're the ones that are performing the work at the Lincoln
Great.
Park, and they just did a great emergency repair for us at the McKinney Center.
Great. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, they've been a pleasant surprise, and really, we're saving a ton of money up there at Lincoln
So-
Park, so they have done well. But yeah, our priorities is getting the sidewalk up to the senior center and McKinney Center areas, and I think we can accomplish that.
And
That's
I'll
kind of the
report
board's
to
goal.
board. I'll report to the board immediately,
So we can
fairly
do this.
quickly.
We can do this.
We need to move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it as part of maybe a budget meeting or something.
We
Correct.
Can I want to just add one thing, Mayor. We did a lot when I was here on my first rodeo. We did a lot of good projects, but one of the things that I regret didn't get done was that sidewalk up East Main Street. And it just got, TDOT had a safe walkways to schools grant. And it would be ridiculous to try to enumerate all of the hurdles that we were given to try to get through that thing, but I think we ended up spending about $230,000 in engineering alone just to get that thing designed to TDOT specs that we could never then satisfy when it came down to it. So getting this thing off the ground is a big deal, and I commend everybody involved in it. It's desperately needed, and it's honestly a safety issue at this point.
Yeah. Very good, thank you, Alderman Wolf. All right, appreciate the feedback. You see the recommendation there.
Move
I'll
for
take a
approval.
motion. Got a motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf,
Aye.
Alderman Countermine,
Aye.
Alderman Clausen,
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Got one more item. Now, Kelly, I don't think was part of the board there when we've gone online on what I hate to ask him to kind of pull towards his microphone. He's got a good voice because I've heard him sing, but make sure they won't be able to hear you online if you kick back there.
Okay. I will lean when speaking, Mayor.
There
Thank
you go. We've all been fussed at for that.
It's all good.
All right, next item on the agenda is discussion and possible, and this is good news, discussion possible action concerning approval of the 2022-2023 employee health care plan. And in the days of double-digit increases on health care plans, I think Glenn and Craig and Pat did a great job here to actually going to enhance the plan slightly for only a little over a 2% increase. So it's a home run for the town of Jonesboro and our staff. So it's great to see that. So Glenn, anything you want to address there?
Thankful to our partner Lyman Fulton, who helped orchestrate a lot of this stuff. In particular, the no increase. If we didn't shop around, and as you said, I haven't found anything that's getting any better in pricing. Actually, seems daily or at least weekly, it's getting worse. But I won't say this is the best healthcare in the whole wide world. It's a good plan. We're monitoring it. The other thing, and I wanted to say in the agenda presentation was probably, or I left out, is we'll continue to monitor it with our employees. And one of the areas was the prescription plan, and looking at the upgrade and the amount of prescription drug plan right now that's being utilized by it's not just our employees, everybody that's on our plan, and being able to have a kind of an immediate change in pricing for the good for employees currently and hopefully in the future, and also devoting our time also to helping employees, whether they're having difficulty on their health insurance or prescription plan or drug RX or there's a lot of different certificate programs. There's a lot more that myself as town administrator can help navigate through with employees. There's a little minutia that goes on in it, but also inviting United Health to the table with our employees about our other advantage programs that aren't any cost to employees that we really severely underutilize, whether that's, you know, diabetes or whether that's high blood pressure, just, you know, dietitian things. So we'll continue to work on that plan and those supplements. But I did feel like, you know, that other part of the increase is more on line with upgrading the prescription plan and seeing whether or not that'll help our overall plan.
All right, thank you, Glenn. Alderman, any comments, questions?
I failed to say something to Mr. Rosenoff when I was down here today, but I've had some employees contacting me that they're not happy with this insurance, and it's because they're not paying for physicals, they're not paying for blood work, different things. I think if we go with this insurance, my suggestion is to get Mr. Fulton down here and meet with these departments. If you go to each department and meet and let these employees talk and tell what kind of problems they're having, because it's not fair to go for a physical and then have to end up paying $100. I'm just saying that, I don't know how much, but when you're used to going for a physical and it being zero.
And I'll agree with you. I'm not saying that there's tips and tricks in the world of health, but if I go to a doctor's visit and I'm in a wellness program and my physical is at no cost to me, the employer or the consumer, and then I start talking other parts of my medical history with a doctor, it'll go from a wellness check to a doctor's visit. I'm not sure if that's the case. I've just unfortunately had to program myself with all this. So I think programming our employees and finding out things like that, I'm devoted to it. I'll just say that. And so is Mr. Ford, and so is Mr. Ryder on meeting and bringing United Healthcare as well into our meetings.
Yeah, getting a physical shouldn't really be anything out of pocket on that. Some of those things should be, you know, covered 100%. But any other comments or questions? If not,
Hard to find a renewal at 0 or at 2.5% on anything. So great job, staff and Lyman Fulton, for negotiating that. Phenomenal.
absolutely. Is that a motion?
We'll make it one.
All right, I got a motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
Second.
Second from Alderman Dixon.
I knew if I was quiet long enough.
All right, any other comments or questions? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Last item on the agenda is discussion and possible action concerning approval of expenses incurred with Southern VAC. And pretty interesting write-up there. You see the recommendations and
It's never boring, is it?
no.
I was gonna say the 1.5 page narrative is probably worth about 40, 50 pages of this. This has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, it's just
I'll just say this, Mayor. If they hadn't have tested the truck and the tank imploded there, it would have done it the first time we used it here. It wasn't anything they did. I think it was just great that they had it, quite honestly,
Yeah.
to get it fixed for us.
Yeah.
So hopefully that can be resolved. But Mr. Wheeler did a good job negotiating, it sounds like.
Actually, I think that most of the final negotiation was Mr. Rosenoff, and
Okay.
he did a fantastic job.
And I misread the narrative.
yeah, very good.
Well, I think he gave me a little more credit toward the end than I deserved.
All right, any other questions or comments, Alderman? If not, I'll take a motion to approve recommendations 1 and 2.
So moved.
Got a motion to approve recommendations 1 and 2 by Alderman Countermine. May I get a second?
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Causey. Any other questions, comments? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Well, try to go.
All right, motion carried, and it's a wrap. Thank you all for coming.
Back